Have you ever wondered what Earth looked like so many years ago before the present day? Well, I got a story for you. This is the story of a lost dynasty. These are the dinosaurs. Amazing and beautiful animals that existed 66 million years ago. These animals were beautiful, magnificent, and also terrifying. The dinosaurs have been popular in pop culture for years. They even appeared in documentaries, movies, and etc. But there's one question. How could these beautiful animals not exist anymore and go extinct? Why have they not come back? Why didn't they bother coming back? Well, in this documentary movie, this would all answer your questions, how we get to learn facts about these magnificent animals. In this program, we'll be talking about carnivores and herbivores and a lot more. We're going to time skip each period that the dinosaurs existed. The Triassic period and the Jurassic period. The Cretaceous period, this is where these dinosaurs have existed. But back then, dinosaurs weren't how they were today, or back when they were alive. Not some giant beast or giant walking chickens. They were actually really small because there were some other animal species that was actually ruling over Earth before the dinosaurs. And the dinosaurs were so little part of it. But after the species went extinct, the dinosaurs took control of it. They inherited it. And they took control over the planet. And they spread across countries, continents, and a lot more. These dinosaurs were everywhere. In China, Japan, America, Arizona, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, and South America and North America, Asia, Russia, Europe, and etc. These big giant beasts were always that big, like sauropods. There are even dinosaurs that are the size of modern day turkeys. Some of them size of giraffes or bigger than a giraffe. Even some that are bigger than elephants, woolly mammoths, and a lot more. There were some dinosaurs that were magnificent, some of them that looked odd, and some that looked very, very strange, and some that are beautiful. But are dinosaurs really extinct? Well, their big cousins were, the dinosaurs, but there's actually a small group or family of dinosaurs called Theropoda, and these are the birds. There were two separate families of dinosaurs, one of them being avian birds and non-avian birds, which are the dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are non-avian birds, meaning that they don't have beaks or neither can fly. But there was some dinosaurs and old and new dinosaurs discovered. Some of them that looked just like birds and can fly. Some of them can glide. And some of them could even have feathers themselves. And there were even some animals that weren't dinosaurs but lived with the dinosaurs. Some of them were aquatic and some of them flew in the air. Sometimes we take bird traits and their behavior and what they can do to dinosaurs, since dinosaurs are related to birds. But let's see what they did in action back when they were alive. So, how about we get started on this great story of the dinosaurs, how their new kingdom has risen and how it fell. $3.8 billion years ago, this was our home planet Earth. But not what the Earth you expected it to look like back then. Earth was no other than just a big planet with lava, volcanoes, eruptions, and a lot more. Almost looking like Venus, the second planet from the sun. Earth back then was uninhabitable. No life, nothing could survive on this planet. Earth was just a big fireball. And not even water is not even on this planet. Not even a single one. This planet looks nothing and completely different and out of this world. It looks nothing like planet Earth. Some of you might think that, are we really sure Earth looked like this? Some scientists believe it did. It turns out it's true. This was just a big fireball planet, just like Venus. Time skipping to 2.5 billion years ago, and Earth still looks like a giant fireball still. Not even a single detail, just lava, volcanoes erupting, and earthquakes everywhere. We thought maybe Earth would look like this forever, until one fateful day. A planet, roughly the size of Mars, crashes into Earth. After this collision, this changed everything for the future of Earth. This was Earth after Theia crashed into it. And then life began, and even forming our moon. But there were so many time periods that went through each period. Even some that almost led to the dinosaurs, and then to us. But before the dinosaurs were giant bugs, lizard-like mammals, and a lot more strange animals that lived before any of those existed. And even before us. But we're only here to talk about dinosaurs, right? And how they started their kingdom. But I wanted to show you how it started before the dinosaurs even existed. So, how about we take a time skip back? There we go. Now, this is Earth 66 million years ago. And this is where the dinosaurs were still roaming. And since we're in this time period, dinosaurs are amazing beings. But let's see what they did in their habitats, their environments, how they hunted their prey and food and learned to survive. Let's see how a kingdom has risen and fallen. This is the story of the Lost Dynasty. This is Earth in the Jurassic period, the start when dinosaurs existed. This is Herrerasaurus, a carnivore, not as its big cousins, but small. This Herrerasaurus is trying to look for a home, but it encounters another of its species. And these two have to fight for it. Whoever wins owns this piece of environment. Now, this Herrerasaurus has a home now. After the Jurassic period was over, then soon came a new period called the Jurassic period. This is Dimorphodon. As we see here, this Dimorphodon is trying to look for food, but with no luck, it cannot find any. So just like any animal, it continues searching. But less of a day later, it died due to starvation. Now, this is the late Jurassic period, and meet one of the most famous and popular carnivores in the Jurassic period, the apex predator, Allosaurus. This female allosaur is trying to look for a home for herself, but then soon she encounters someone that wants it too. This is a male Ceratosaurus, also trying to look for a home. But it turns out these two have to compete for it. now there is a winner. A few months have gone by, and this female allosaur is enjoying her home. Within the next few years, she will become an adult. A few years later, the same female allosaur has returned to her home, but she wasn't alone in her home, but she came back to see her mate. They both greet each other with a warm welcome. As we see here, these two are both communicating, wondering what they should do. And I think they're about to hunt, because they are starting to feel hungry. This is Stegosaurus, a herbivore, the most beautiful herbivore, having 4 thagomizers at the end of its tail and having big plates on its body, but it doesn't know that it's being hunted. The Stegosaurus is trying to defend itself by using its tail as a weapon. The outmatched in the corner, it failed to defend itself. But now it just became a meal for these two pair of allosaurs. After the Jurassic period ended, soon came a new period called the Cretaceous period. And this is where all the famous dinosaurs appeared. But before we get to the good dinosaurs, let's go to the dinosaurs that are briefly mentioned. After Pangaea broke apart, then all the continents became their own, like Africa. This was Africa in the mid-Cretaceous period, and what lived there was another big carnivore, Carcharodontosaurus. As we see here, this Carcharodontosaurus is trying to look for water, but then it finds a watering hole, but then was an alligator. It was gonna drink some water, but it didn't take the chance because there are much more crocodiles and alligators that had cousins that were bigger than it. But Carcharodontosaurus wasn't the only big carnivore that was in Africa. This is Spinosaurus aegypticus, a semi-aquatic animal that usually spends its time in the waters than on land. This male Spinosaur is trying to look for food. The spot it went to will soon become the modern-day Nile River in Africa or in Egypt. Well, that was a mess. This is Pteranodon, a pterosaur. These pterosaurs were big, but not as big as their cousin that would appear in the late Cretaceous with the Tyrannosaurus rex. This pterosaur is trying to look for some food, but sadly it can't find any because its spot where it hunts at, all the fish and the river is gone. So now it has to look for a new spot to hunt and eat. But let's see what that Carcharodontosaurus was doing earlier. This same Carcharodontosaurus is still trying to look for water and also a home for itself. But it wasn't the only one there. Another Carcharodontosaurus, both competing for this environment. Even though they're the same exact species and they fight over stuff, is a little bit dramatic and childish. As they both fight, the Carcharodontosaurus, the other, loses, and this one is the winner. What a rainy day. The Spinosaurus goes into the river and have fun, of course, as any animal would do that. And it swims in the water during its time, and even hunts for fish while it's at it. But then, the loser, the Carcharodontosaurus, that didn't win that home environment, tries to get water. But this Spinosaur is not having it with him. And this Carcharodontosaur just only came to drink water. 4 hours later into the day, the rain stops. The Spinosaurus is now heading back to its home. Then on its way there, encounters the Carcharodontosaurus that we've seen before. These two big carnivores confront each other, and that in a 50-50 chance, one of them would win. Some probably not win at all. After a fearsome battle, Carcharodontosaurus heads back to its home too, while the Spinosaur has an injury on its back and also heads back home. After that, soon came to the late Cretaceous. But before the T-Rex, there were some animals that were there in the late Cretaceous also. This is Asia in the late Cretaceous, and this feathered animal is called Velociraptor. This Velociraptor comes back through a river, trying to have a sip or a drink, so they can stay hydrated during this hot temperature. Also, Velociraptor was really small, and it looked nothing like how it looked in the Jurassic Park movies, because the raptors that were based off of Jurassic Park were based off of Utah Raptor or Deinonychus, because the real-life Velociraptor was more of a size of a modern-day turkey. And still, in the late Cretaceous, as we see here, the river starts going up again. But then, in the late Cretaceous comes a different animal, Parasaurolophus, a herbivore, a duck-billed dinosaur, a part of the hadrosaur family. This hadrosaur comes by to the river so it can have a drink. When it's enjoying its drink, a newcomer comes by to the river too to have a drink as well. Albertosaurus, part of the Tyrannosaur family and a cousin of Tyrannosaurus rex, Albertosaurus comes by for a drink as well. When there's a river and two completely different species come next to each other, one of them doesn't bother to hunt, but actually came here to have a drink as well, along with the other. This makes a little tiny truce, that none of them hurt each other or fight each other. But then soon after, the carnivore leaves. Now this Parasaurolophus is now looking for food now, and she makes sure of her surroundings before eating. But she should have checked again, while an Albertosaurus is hunting her. Before the Albertosaurus attacks, it waits for a good moment. But then soon after, Parasaurolophus notices, and now they both have a clash. After that, the Parasaurolophus tries getting up, but soon after, she was already killed and eaten by the Albertosaurus. And now, 66 million years later, after the Albertosaurus and the Parasaurolophus, now comes to this, the late Cretaceous with the Tyrannosaurus rex. But before we see the Tyrannosaurus rex, what else lived with Tyrannosaurus rex? There's actually a big animal that lived in the oceans that lived with Tyrannosaurus rex. And this aquatic lizard was called Mosasaurus. There are some animals that live in the oceans and lived with the dinosaurs, but technically, they were not dinosaurs. They were aquatic lizards that lived with the dinosaurs and not related to dinosaurs at all, more than to lizards. And Mosasaurus was one of them. As we see here, is a male Tyrannosaurus Rex, king of the dinosaurs. This male Tyrannosaurus Rex smelt a big carcass near the ocean, and now it is trying to look for the carcass. A carnivore can smell a carcass from miles away. And that's why they are always the first ones there before others. As we see here is a washed up mosasaur. And this Tyrannosaurus is about to eat it. Such a beautiful environment during an era of the dinosaurs. But what lived in this environment? Well, there's actually one big apex predator that is famous and popular in the entire world and the animal kingdom, or used to be an animal before it went extinct. Tyrannosaurus Rex. This dinosaur was up to 13 meters and up to 9 to 12 tons. This tyrannosaur lives by a river, so it can actually get its resources and also survive by drinking water, of course. But this tyrannosaur wasn't by itself, as a triceratops was also trying to get food. Until the Triceratops noticed the Tyrannosaur, and with no hesitation, the Tyrannosaurus goes for it and hunts the Triceratops as its food. With nowhere to go, the Triceratops was cornered. The Tyrannosaurus Rex uses its powerful jaws to kill the Triceratops, but accidentally bites it free. Then gets knocked over, killing the Triceratops. And now, the Tyrannosaurus has a feast. And soon after, a giant pterosaur flies by, Quetzalcoatlus, a size of a giraffe up to 18 feet tall. This pterosaur was no joke, not even having teeth on its big beak, and once it catches its prey, it swallows it whole. But this Quetzalcoatlus only came for water, and soon after it leaves. After the Tyrannosaur woke up from its nap, it continues on with its day. Then, soon after, along with its day, a big event would happen. One day, just a normal day for the dinosaurs, something appeared in the sky alongside with the moon. A giant asteroid the size of Mount Everest heading straight for Earth. Just a tiny space rock that's only the size of Mount Everest heads into Earth's atmosphere and comes crashing to the surface. After the asteroid releasing so much energy, released 50,000 earthquakes, greater than the one that was in 2004. After the asteroid hit, it caused eruptions of many volcanoes around the world, covering up the Earth, and a bunch of tsunamis, an explosion and fire everywhere around the Earth. After 3.5 of Earth's life went extinct, along with the dinosaurs. And soon came a bunch of rocks that came from the asteroid come raining down to the Earth's surface. This was the end of the dinosaurs. Now Earth, engulfed in flames and clouds around it. No sunlight can go through the Earth, preventing everything to die off, except for the ones that were underwater. After the dinosaurs went extinct, soon came new animals called the mammals. They lived with the dinosaurs since the Jurassic period, and the dinosaurs have been ruling over them for so many years until when they went extinct. Then the mammals took over. Now that was the story of how dinosaurs became the most powerful kingdom and era to ever exist, only to fallen by one space rock. But not all of them were gone. With the birds here today, and also the last living relatives of the dinosaurs, at least we have dinosaurs that are with us. Not as their big and giant scary cousins, but small. But some were big, but some that didn't reach the lengths of almost about 13 meters big, or the size of a sauropod. There were some dinosaurs that could fly, but not flying, more like gliding. After we discovered the dinosaurs, we definitely knew how their story went and how life was perfect for them at the time. But then after the asteroid came and hit Earth, everything changed and killed all of them and wiped them all out. letting them disappear off the earth. But their only remains are their skin implanted in dirt, their footprints, and even their fossils. We get to learn from what these fossils have on them. Some of them even had tooth marks on them, scratch marks. We can even tell that they even fought each other, and even see what they ate. Even their food becomes fossilized along with them, making a really good guess of what they ate. After these beautiful animals are gone indeed, but not truthfully gone, but still with us today, and we will never forget how they became the most popular animals to ever exist on the face of the earth. But what came after the dinosaurs? Well, I have an answer for you. Mammals soon came to rise and even had their own kingdom of their own after the dinosaurs had fallen to their deaths. These were the giant beasts and early mammals to exist on Earth. But as like any kingdom that ever existed and lasted forever for millennia, have fallen, but then soon a new one will arise.